Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
It's Friday. How
It
could
is
be anything but
Friday.
good? And I get to talk to one of my favorite guests. I talk to Jordan Goodman, usually about once a month, and always enjoy visiting with Jordan. He's America's Money Answers Man. Today, we're going to talk about mortgages, because that's something that I was just visiting with a person the other day about how their mortgage rate was so high and they want to refinance. And I was like, I'm going to talk to him about that, because there are probably people who locked in when everybody said the rates are so low, and then like 2 years later, they were even lower. So I'm going to see if now is a good time.
There you go.
Coming up, we're going to be chatting with him. Also, in England, the maker of Mars and Snickers, they changed the name. They changed the king size name to something different. Now they broke them in half, and they call them two shareable portions. Because, and I think that's how it is here now too, isn't it?
Yeah, we have lots of those that are they're called shareables.
Yeah, and the reason that they do that is because of the rising level of obesity among Brits, and they're saying that they don't want them being
They're
king
becoming
size.
Americanized.
Yeah, they're like, hey, these Snickers are good. Next thing you know, you're going to be drinking and smoking and driving too fast.
And living
I don't know.
life.
Maybe they already do that. I don't know. Coming up, we got some special stuff happening today. We'll tell you about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, the 18th day of November. That means today is European Antibiotic Awareness Day. It's kind of bizarre. It's also GIS Day, Geographic Information Systems, is what GIS stands for.
That's good.
Married to a Scorpio Support Group Day.
Oh.
Who's a Scorpio? Am I a Scorpio?
No.
I'm a Sagittarius. What are you?
I'm a Virgo.
Virgo?
We don't have a Scorpio in our family.
We don't have any?
Not in our family. Not in our house.
I didn't know what a Scorpio is. I thought that was a bug. National Apple Cider Day today. Mickey Mouse Day. MICKEYMOUSE. It's Push Button Phone Day today, and it is Substitute Educators Day. So if you are a substitute teacher, hats off to you today. Today's a special day. You should have some apple cider and celebrate with us. There you go. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Would you like to lose weight? You could wait till New Year's to make a resolution, but most people that do that are done with them in a few weeks. No, they don't hit their goal. They just give up. If you struggle to keep your weight where you'd like it, maybe you should consider hypnosis. Many people have amazing results with hypnosis, and it's not as expensive as you think. We have a special weight loss hypnosis program for just $60 at radiosavings.com. Hypnosis can help reduce the cravings that cause you to overeat. Learn more about this special hypnosis weight loss system from Extreme Power Hypnosis at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. If you're squeamish, you might want to just close your earlids for a minute here, because
Earlids.
this is disgusting. Federal Board of Medical Advisors at the FDA met for 2 days to discuss how to regulate the use of flesh-eating maggots and blood-sucking leeches. Recent studies have confirmed that these creatures are excellent at cleaning the external infected wounds. And the other creatures, the leeches, are unbeatable for draining excess blood from post-surgical wounds. Now, they had to decide on 21st century rules for their use. The first step was deciding who had jurisdiction, biological or device division. Then finally, they had to decide that chewing flesh and drinking blood were mechanical processes, so leeches and maggots were classified as medical devices. So there you go. Now you know. And for those of you trying to have a meal right now, I apologize.
That is not something that I would ever let somebody do to me. Like,
Yeah. Have you
got
ever
an open wound there.
Have
We
you
better
ever-
make sure that doesn't get infected. Here's a jar of maggots.
Oh. Have you ever had a leech on you?
Never.
Never?
Never.
Oh, man. When I was a kid, we used to... Okay, the lake was called Mud Lake. I mean, we should have known just from the name of the lake that this is not a place to go. So we went to Mud Lake every year for like 10 years. We'd go up there and camp with friends. You'd step into the lake and there would be leeches all over you. And we'd go swimming in this. And then you'd get out and you just
Peel
pluck
them
all the
off.
leeches off. And I remember when I was a kid, they said, no, you don't pull them off like that. You put salt on them. And if you put salt and dash it on her, they like curl up. But here's the other thing you weren't thinking of.
There's a wound.
Open
under there.
wound with salt in
Yeah.
it. Bad idea. So
disgusting.
I know.
I saw them on Stand By Me.
Oh yeah.
And I've been terrified of
Same
leeches
thing
ever
happened, by the way,
since.
to a friend of mine.
Oh,
Exactly
my
the same thing.
goodness. So
Scott,
gross.
I'll never forget. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. You know this is true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Crashing a party is generally thought of as rude, but crashing a party in order to sell drugs, that's just dumb. Crashing the party of a police officer to sell drugs, that's just downright worth talking about on the radio. Leonard Garland and his buddy were arrested in Ashland, Massachusetts after Leo had the bright idea to crash a party at a home. He just happened to be driving by. He's like, hey, check it out. There's a party. Let's stop and see if they need some, party favors. Wink, wink. So he walks in, strikes up a conversation, entices the guest to ask him about drugs. He had some cocaine on him. That's when his customer said, yeah, I want to get more. I'm going to need more than that. Can you call your supplier and hook me up with more? Well, the supplier said he would not go anywhere near that home because that is the head narcotics detective's home. Yeah, he went to a whole party of off-duty police officers.
Who does that? Who just
I
picks
don't
a
know.
random house and says, I'm going to go try and sell those people drugs?
I don't know. This guy did.
I'm pretty sure there's a
Leo.
process, and I don't think that's what it is.
I'm not a drug dealer, so I don't know. Maybe that's the way they do
Maybe
bids,
that is
Heidi.
the process.
Maybe that's how, and that's why they're always getting caught. How'd you get caught? Tried selling to the sheriff. We had that one like a week ago in a marked car. So there you go. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh in Pembrey, England. I would like to live in Pembrey. It's just
Would you?
beautiful. It just sounds beautiful. Doesn't it sound like a nice place?
Sure.
Tony and Amy West went all out for their wedding cake. They paid $500 for what was supposed to be a 3-tier sponge cake. First of all, is that a lot of money for a cake? $500?
I think that's average.
Is it average? I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
They said they went
Depends
all out.
on how many people they were feeding.
Maybe it's just the two of them. I don't know. Well, it was supposed to be a sponge cake decorated with white and dark chocolate icing and some flowers. 4 hours before the evening reception was due to start, Amy discovered the cake they forgot to bake their cake. They admitted it was their mistake. Don't worry, we'll get you a cake. Turned up that evening with the cake, put it on table for all to see. And it wasn't until people took a bite, and those two are the ones that cut it and took a bite, and they found out it was styrofoam. Yeah, that was just for looks. We have your other cake over here. So Amy and her new husband were very embarrassed. They took Creative Cakes to small claims court and were awarded $600 compensation for their $500
And I
cake.
think that's a fair compensation.
Yeah, at least it wasn't like millions
Not,
of dollars.
the
Karen Williams, who runs
emotional
Creative
distress
Cakes,
and-
said, I explained I would be delivering an artificial cake. They are quite common for weddings these days. So she was saying, I told you that's what it was going to be.
But the
you're
thing
supposed to
is,
bring
you
the sheet
forgot
cakes,
to
too.
bring
Yeah.
their real cake because they wanted that cake.
Here you go. Have some cake to eat, and here's one to look at. Coming up, your scoop of the day.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Microsoft has stopped selling their Band 2 fitness trackers, Heidi.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of those before?
No.
That's why they're stopping the sales of those, because nobody
was buying them.
Apparently not. I've never even heard of them. Not only did many Americans just wildly underestimate the popularity of one particular presidential candidate, we've also underestimated the country's desire for inexpensive pre-cooked deer meat. Arby's made their new venison sandwich available at 4 Minnesota locations last week, same week as the big election, by the way. And they sold out by 11:15 a.m. Yeah.
That is crazy to me.
According to the nation's restaurant news, it was the same in 5 other states where the chain was testing out thick-cut venison steaks with crispy onions and juniper berry sauce. That kind of sounds good. I'm getting
I have
hungry
no
right now.
interest at all.
Some Arby's locations ran out of venison sandwiches in just 15 minutes. A company spokesperson said It is safe to say that the response has exceeded our lofty expectations. It is unclear if more venison sandwiches are on the way, as there may not be enough venison supply to meet Arby's needs. Venison is dear. We hit them on the car with our cars on the roads all the time.
Don't you think, though, that some of that was just people's morbid curiosity? Like, I need to try this.
Oh, yeah, that's probably some of it.
So would it continue to sell that
forever?
well? Maybe
No,
not.
forever, but for a while. 2 Princeton researchers say that studies show tall people are smarter and do better on cognitive tests than short people from as early as age 3.
Really?
Just when you thought it was, only bad to be short, now you're stupid too. So that's not good. Like, well, that's not a very fair study. I wonder how tall these researchers were. Each one of them like 6'5". I'm like, hey, guess what? We look down on you for another reason now. We're also smarter than you. Duke University, oh, by the way, those guys were from Princeton. But Duke University has launched a safe space where men can go to contemplate their toxic masculinity. Okay.
There you go.
I'm going to work on that. Toyota is developing a robot that is designed to keep you company while you're in the car.
Really? So then can you drive in the
I
carpool
was
lane?
going to say the same thing. Could you think
If it's
you could
keeping me company and it's talking to me,
dress it up?
maybe.
Hello, officer.
You could try. You could
We
try.
are on our way to work. What seems to be the problem? Average American spending in October was up $93 a day. So that's up 2. So the average American was spending $93 a day. I think that's way more.
Not average.
Me neither. I think I'm spending way less than that. There are some days I spend way more than that, but most days, nah, not even close. Chill out. It's a slang term, right, Heidi?
Yeah.
It's also a scientific suggestion to cure stress. Researchers in Germany say sitting in a freezer can relieve tension as long as you know you're going to get out. Researchers in Germany say tests showed that spending 3 minutes in a freezing room makes stress levels plummet. Scientists say sub-zero temperatures increase the brain's serotonin levels, making their freezing volunteers much calmer.
Or you could just live in the Midwest and go outside in the winter.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, we would have to go out and shovel. And how long were they in there? 3 minutes. Yeah, I was out there way more than that. My stress level went through the roof. I don't believe you for a second, Germany. 2 British university professors announced that their study of 80,000 IQ tests and 20,000 students show, on average, men are 5 IQ points smarter than women. So there, Heidi.
Really?
Yeah. Not even going to get into our IQ talk. Americans need to relax. Over 40% of us say that we're not doing enough to manage our stress, and the consequences could lead to all sorts of health problems. Recent study published in the Journal of Neuron show people who are stressed have more difficulty with self-control, says the fat guy, and are more likely to choose to eat unhealthy foods, says the fat, stressed guy. According to the Time report, stress also affects your breathing, your heart, your liver, your muscles, and your stomach. So there you go.
Yeah, it's bad.
Now
it's a
you
bad
know.
thing all the way around.
All right. That's going to do it for your Scoop of the Day on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
We just wrapped up one of the most contentious elections in the history of our nation. Some are excited about the outcome, others not so excited. We want to remind you that we're still one nation, under God, indivisible. We've made it through many things, and we'll make it through this too. Let's do it together. At PoliticalStorm.com, we've been covering this election from both sides, and we want to thank the many contributors that have helped make that possible. We also invite you to become a contributor too with a free blog. Let's share all of the reasons to come together and unify as a nation. Share your voice at PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi. John and Heidi.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Duel Shape.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
When you're lacking chains and you feel no pain, Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/duelrocks.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
By age 60, most people have lost half of their taste buds. That explains a lot. I remember growing up, I'd see people eating food off the buffet, like at restaurants, and I was like, what is that, and why would you eat it? And it was mainly old people that were eating it. Younger people don't even try that stuff. Like weird salads and stuff. Have you seen these things?
I've seen salads, yeah.
Well, anyway, by age 60, you've lost half of your taste buds. Explains that. While adult humans have 206 bones in their body, newborn babies have 300. Some of our bones fuse together as we grow up.
I knew that.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The average person uses the bathroom how many times a day?
I don't know.
6. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The first manager of the Space Needle in Seattle, Hodge Sullivan, had a fear of heights. The 605-foot tall Space Needle is fastened to its foundation with 72 bolts, each 30 feet long. The Space Needle sways about 1 inch for every 10 miles per hour of wind.
I wouldn't like that.
It was built to withstand wind velocities of 200 miles per hour. So there you go. Couple of fun facts for you on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
This is the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. When you join, you'll be giving them the set of numbers that you want them to play, and that's what they will play for you. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that's RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. You know what's coming up 1 week from today?
What's that?
Black Friday. That's one of your favorite shopping days of the year.
I love
I could
Black
care less
Friday.
myself. I last year I bought what did I buy on Black Friday? I brought something to drink and something to eat, like a Snickers bar.
That
or
is the
something.
only sport I take part in.
Yeah. I drive.
And it is a sport. It takes planning and cunning, and you got to be quick. You got to be able to move in and out of the crowds. And
I wish people could see the way you're moving as you're saying this. That's actually quite funny. She's like darting back and forth with her head. Ooh, yeah, it's good. So I've been
There's
the
an
last
art to it.
few years I've been driving my beautiful
just
wife
not
here.
as appreciated as it
No,
should
it's
be.
not. I'm not a fan. But I drive you and your mother every year. I've been for how many years now? It's been going on 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Been driving
Probably.
you guys. I'll pull them right up to the door. They
Which
go
is
inside and do their
awesome.
thing, and then I just go like mill around and goof around and
You gonna
listen
do
to the
that this
radio.
year?
And yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome.
And then when they're done, they call me and they say, "Hey, we're ready," and I'll pull up and get them. And here's the best part: I get to watch all the people who are going in their pajamas and stuff. I'm like, what
hair all messed up.
What is going on, people? So
Cup of
anyway,
coffee.
Black Friday. I had a whole story I was going to read about this, but we've pretty much wasted our entire
break.
2 minutes. But I'll tell you, according to this story, it says the best Black Friday retailers. Number 10, Sears. 9, Kraft Warehouse. 8, Fred Meyer. 7, Shopko. 6, Kohl's. Now keep in mind, these are nationwide. Number 5 is Gordman's. 4, Harbor Freight. 3, JCPenney. 2, Stage. Who do you think is the number 1, Heidi?
I have no idea.
Macy's, according to this article, has the best Black Friday deals. So there you go.
Really?
Now you know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen. Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Have you ever gone to a trashy wedding, Heidi?
Yes.
Have you really?
Yes, I have.
I have too, but I won't say whose
I won't
just in
either.
case they're listening. I love you. I went to your wedding. And I do love you. We'll have to compare notes afterwards and see if we're talking
I'm
about
pretty
the
sure
same
we're talking
wedding.
Well, no, we might not be
Well,
talking about the same wedding because I
some
don't think you
brides-
went with me.
Some brides and some grooms prefer limos or horse-drawn carriages for the wedding, but Sonia Chamberlain, she wanted a trashy wedding. She used a garbage truck. Yeah. Truck was given a makeover and decked out in ribbons and balloons. Well, garbage men from all over the city came to watch the wedding. Sonia said she decided to use a garbage truck because her new husband, Guy Wheaton, had been driving the trash truck since they first met. She says when she saw the guy for the very first time next to his trash truck, it was love at first sight.
Aww.
Everyone that had attended the garbage truck wedding said it was absolutely breathtaking.
That is wonderful.
That is. I think that's cool. And you know what? I like the fact that they're both cool with that.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a trashy wedding at all. That would be an awesome wedding. Sounds like they cleaned that truck all up. That was nice.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure it was lovely.
Very cool. Coming up, going to talk about some starlings that made it into the news. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
If you're tired of birds going on your car right after you wash it, you got nothing at all on the starlings from Rome. They swarm to the city every year, gathering around the historic piazzas and the Baroque churches. But the numbers are in the millions.
Oh, boy.
4 million birds. There are people who have to literally walk around.
That's creepy. That's like a horror movie.
They have to walk around with umbrellas because,
Ew.
there's stuff falling from the sky, if you know what I mean. So Rome said, we've had enough of this. Guess what they did?
What'd they do?
They put in some speakers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing. It's called the Italian League for the Protection of Birds, LIPU. Going to broadcast bird distress calls over the loudspeaker.
I heard that.
All of the starlings are hearing another bird being tortured. How did they get the recording of this? Did they really
tortured a bird?
Torture a bird?
Let's see what noises they make when they do this.
Poke him with this now. That is awful. I hope that's not how they did it. But this poor little bird
that got holy water on him, rub it in his eyes.
This poor little bird got tortured, so the others will go away. I hope that works because I'd hate to see what they go to next year. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
We just wrapped up one of the most contentious elections in the history of our nation. Some are excited about the outcome, others not so excited. We want to remind you that we're still one nation, under God, indivisible. We've made it through many things, and we'll make it through this too. Let's do it together. At PoliticalStorm.com, we've been covering this election from both sides, and we want to thank the many contributors that have helped make that possible. We also invite you to become a contributor too with a free blog. Let's share all of the reasons to come together and unify as a nation. Share your voice at PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
All right, I got something helpful here from a dude that works as a writer for Career Builder. He says, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. If nothing else, this old adage might be the most important piece of advice to remember in any job search, especially in today's world where things are sometimes not what they seem. So first and foremost, hold on to your cash. No legitimate employer asks you for money.
That is true.
Heidi, you really got to quit asking the employees for money. This is a foolproof tip that something's not right. Number of scams out there where they say, okay, well, you need to give us this much, and then we're going to give you that. That's not a real job. That is a scam. Next one, make money while you sleep. If you see that in an ad, be very, very, very... very suspicious because those things don't typically work. I mean, depending on if you're a prostitute, maybe.
I was going to say, you can make money while you're in bed, but there's very little sleeping involved.
Yeah. Next, work at home. If that appears in the header, chances are it's not really a job title. A lot of scammers are utilizing that because there are people right now that are out of work and they're looking for work and they're going, hey, I'd work from home. So be very careful again. This again from Career Builder. Miracles arrive in your mailbox. If you see something like that, know that whatever it is probably
Huge
not legit.
Scam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Palm trees, mansions, beaches, and bikinis. Successful scammers often bag their prey by dangling enticing things in front of them like kidnappers do. So if you're watching videos of some person that made millions and, hey, I do all this sitting on my patio at my mansion here in this beach. Just if you watched like 5 minutes longer, you'd see some real person come out and shoo them off their patio. Hey, get off my patio. And then the last one is put on your detective hat. This is the easiest one of all, by the way. Essential 2 things. There's 2 ways to get listed with the Better Business Bureau. Buy a membership or get reported for bad business practices. Well, the absence of a company's name in their listing is not unusual. Not every business pays for membership is what they're saying. If there's a business on there with a C or D or F rating and multiple complaints, that is a huge warning sign. So be very, very careful. And if you're working with somebody and they're emailing you from like a Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail or AOL rather than like a legitimate from their business, that's another red flag. Or whatever I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Red flag. This is all from Career Builder, and thank you to Rachel Zupik for writing that.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. I think this is good news. Pete Leonard first developed a love for fresh roasted coffee during a mission trip to Brazil. At about that same time, he noticed that a relative who had recently been released from prison was unable to find work. Leonard said, "Wait a minute, I have an idea. I'm going to take advantage of America's obsession with coffee by creating a premium coffee roasting company, and I'm going to employ former felons to run it."
Oh, wow.
Since starting the company 9 years ago in Wheaton, Illinois, Leonard has hired 35 people fresh out of prison, and he says that today all but 2 are the success stories that he believed could happen. Read the story and see the video on our Facebook page, by the way, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But I think that's really a neat idea. You know, he had an issue where he noticed, he's like, wait a minute, I've got this relative that just got out of prison. He's a good guy that made a bad decision, but he served his time.
Right.
He's, you know, he's now back in society, and
Right.
most people won't even give him a chance. So he's like, I'm going to give the guy a chance.
That's good.
And now 35 people who have had the opportunity that his relative had, and only 2 out of the 35 were not the glowing success story that he hoped for. So I wonder what those 2 did. We don't want to know. Got my coffee? There's something wrong with it. There's a human thumb in it? No, I have no clue what those 2 did, but it probably had nothing to do with his work, honestly.
It's nice that he's willing to give
That
people
is
a second chance.
absolutely cool. Pete Leonard is the guy's name. So if you'd like to see
Good
the story,
man.
facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. It is Friday, so be safe out there. If you're going to go out and party tonight, be sure to have a designated driver. That's a very important thing. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. It's America's Money Answers man, Jordan Goodman. Jordan, how are you today, sir?
Great to be with you again, John.
Always good to visit with you. Every time we talk, we learn so much. And today we're going to talk about mortgages, because a lot of people listening right now probably have one. Those of you that don't, pat yourselves on the back. That is awesome. But for people who do have a mortgage, is there a way to get these things maybe paid down a little quicker?
Much quicker, John. Yes, indeed. I mean, in general, we have the lowest mortgage rates right now we've pretty much ever seen in our lifetime. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, about 3.5%, something like that. The 15-year, about 2.5%. I mean, these are fantastic rates. So if your current mortgage is, I would say, 4% or higher, it's going to make sense to look into refinancing. The new one has to be at least half point below the old one to make it worthwhile doing. But if that's your circumstance, you should go ahead and do it. A website that can help you do that is youcanrefi.com, youcanrefi.com. And the mortgage I've had for many years, John, is what's called the ARC loan, the automatic rate cut mortgage, where if rates drop, it automatically goes down. If rates go up, it does not go up. It's kind of a one-way street in your favor is the way I like to put it. So
That's
they take
cool.
a look. If rates have dropped a quarter point or more over a 6-month period, then your rate automatically goes down, and they do not change the maturity. You know, you're not starting a new 30-year clock all over again.
Now, that's kind of like the adjustable rate mortgage, but they always seem to only adjust up. So this is like the opposite, it adjusts down.
Exactly. This is an adjustable rate mortgage that only goes down. That's correct. So I'll give you my example. I got mine originally in 2001 at 10%. It's now come down to 3%. But each time it came down, the maturity did not change. So the maturity still is 2031, even though it's adjusted down several times. The problem with regular refinancing is every time you refinance, you get a lower rate, lower payment. That's good, but you start a new 30-year clock all over again. And so all the interest you paid for the last few years, you just threw away, basically, by starting all over again. So that's what I like about that. Website for that is arcloan.com, ARCLOAN.com, to kind of get the best deal on refinancing. And there are 2 ways of doing it, John. You can do it with closing costs or without closing costs. Now, if you do it with closing costs, once you pay a certain amount for title insurance and points and all that, you get the lowest possible rate. If you do it without closing costs, they'll in effect roll the closing costs into the loan, and you won't have to pay anything out of pocket, but in effect you're paying interest on those closing costs for many years. So if you can possibly do it, I would say do it with closing costs, get them out of the way, get the lowest possible rate, and that's probably the best thing that people can do. So,
Nice.
again, the websites I just gave, youcanrefi.com or arcloan.com as a way of getting refinancing. Now, your original question was, can you pay your mortgage off faster? And the answer is yes. And there's a strategy that most people don't know about, which is called mortgage equity optimization. And that allows you to pay off a 30-year mortgage, typically in about 5 to 7 years, thereabouts, literally on the same level of income you've got today. Now, this is not something you're ever going to hear about from your local banks because they really don't want you to know about something like that. But basically what it does is you use a home equity line of credit, what's called a HELOC, H-E-L-O-C, which is a liquid line against your house. Instead of keeping your money, your paycheck, and whatever income you've got in a checking account sitting there earning zero, you keep your money in the HELOC, which is pushing down your balance every day. HELOCs are based on what's called average daily balance. How much do I owe today? So instead of keeping, let's just do a simple example now. Say you had $1,000, and you normally kept it in your checking account sitting there earning nothing, and now you have a HELOC, which is, say, $50,000. You put the $1,000 in, you now owe $49,000, right? You've moved your balance down a little bit.
Yeah.
And therefore you owe interest in a smaller balance. So you combine a HELOC with your traditional first mortgage, paying it down in chunks, and the end result is you're going to pay that first mortgage off 5, 6, 7 years, depending on what the numbers look out to be. But I just saved you tens of thousands of dollars of interest and 25 years off your mortgage with your existing level of income. And there's a website that people can find out about that as well, which is called truthinequity.com, truthinequity.com. Free website, models the whole thing for you. And I've just saved your listeners thousands of dollars they didn't even know they were wasting.
There you go. And I do a good job of taking notes, and I'll make sure I get all of these websites posted on our social media to make it easy, because I know there's probably somebody driving to work right now or driving home from work or driving wherever going, man, I wish I had all these websites because I don't remember that stuff. Well, I got it all taken care of for you. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. Jordan, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You've been staying out of trouble lately?
I've been trying to. I've been traveling a lot, actually, seeing what's going on around the country, and it's a volatile world out there, I must say.
Is.
Right? The strategies I talk about, no matter what the stock market did, I want people to get out of debt as fast as possible.
Well,
and
that's
a combination of mortgage optimization and the refinancing strategy we talked about can help people save a ton of money that they're otherwise wasting. And the worst thing, John, they don't even know they're wasting it. So now I've told them how much they're wasting.
Well, it's always very fun to talk to you, and it's funny because I've talked to listeners that say, well, I heard you talk to Jordan Goodman, and then I was watching TV and I saw him on there. I'm like, oh, hey, that's the guy that I heard on the John and Heidi Show. So I know that you're out and about. You're always chatting with people about ways to save money and invest properly and do what they can to make good, smart money decisions. So thank you for doing what you do.
Okay, well, glad to help so much, John. And I'm always glad to get their emails as well to follow up on any of these things at moneyanswers.com.
Very nice. Jordan Goodman right there. Again, America's Money Answers man. His website, moneyanswers.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.